Coming up next, I'll teach you how to use social networks to connect. I'll reveal the key to growing yourself. We'll take your calls, your chats, and have a big time. It all starts right now. Coming to you live from Ramsey Studios. You're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. I'm Ken. So excited to have you with us. Here we go. It's a Monday. And that doesn't mean that it's, I've just got to make it. It's, yes, this is an opportunity to make some progress. That's the mindset I want you to have. And maybe, just maybe, this is the week that you make the connections that give you a breakthrough. I love giving you folks an edge. And I saw this article from Career Sherpa, a wonderful resource out there about social networks and how they can help you connect. And I think this is important, and I'll tell you why. We get calls routinely on this show where people say, Ken, listen, I'm trying to use the proximity principle. I'm trying to use it. And I'm trying to get around people that are doing what I want to do and in places where it is happening, but I don't seem to have any connections, or I've exhausted all of my connections and I can't seem to get in. And I always kind of reply, well, listen, there's more digging to be done. And when I saw this article, Madison, the associate producer, brought this to me, I thought, you know what? This is a great reminder. So let's roll through this real quick. Connecting is not a one and done thing. And I think a lot of you go, well, I made the connection and nothing came from that particular connection. Okay, I'm done. I got to try somewhere else, as opposed to continuing the process. So I'm going to run through a couple social media platforms and just a brief rundown from this article. They've done a great job. Successful connectors know that when they show generosity towards others, it can and usually does come back to help them in the future. And I love this. This is the point I want to make. One of my idols, Zig Ziglar, once famously said, if you help other people get what they want in life, you'll get what you want. This is the idea of reciprocity, big fancy word. I love those multiple syllable words. But reciprocity is simply this. When I do good things for others, it's going to come back to me. So sometimes the art of connecting isn't a specific, I need this from you. It's, I'm going to connect and do something positive for others, knowing that it's going to come back to me. Let's talk about these social media platforms. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way for you to stay connected with people that you've worked with in the past and people you know. And you can also meet new people that work in the companies you're interested in. Now, I've said this 100 times. I think LinkedIn's an amazing resource. It's great for information, but you're going to have to work it and go deeper for connection, meaning don't just send them a bunch of emails. But here's some things you can do with LinkedIn. Congratulate them when they get a new job. Share some status update or some content that they've shared and give them some love for doing it. Get involved in group discussion feeds on LinkedIn. This is amazing. This is where like-minded, like-hearted people are gathering. Let's look at Facebook. This is interesting. I did not know this. JobVite Job Seeker Nation did a study. 76% of social job seekers found their current position through Facebook. So they're using social media to try to find an opportunity. And through Facebook, that's where they got the gig. Now, these people were ages 30 to 39, college educated with annual incomes greater than $100,000. That's significant when you see that they're not just using Facebook or a social media platform to get a lower level job. These are really great jobs, okay? Connecting on Twitter. Everybody that's on Twitter, I'm telling you, it's a different kind of platform. They're fine to connect and comment. It's a different world out there. So what do? Reshare some appropriate tweets. Add your 2 cents to a tweet if there's room. Reply to a person who shared a helpful tweet and why you liked it. Look for things in common. Did you know this? You can use Twitter's advanced search function to find people using the same company name that you want to work at. So again, you can find them. And then I would say with Instagram, same deal with Facebook and Twitter. If you find somebody on LinkedIn or Facebook that you want to connect with and engage with, also look them up on Instagram. And the idea here is pay it forward. Say something positive about them. Send them a great resource. Give them some love. And you begin to make a connection. And it is the connections with real people that will lead to connections to opportunities that you want. It's that simple. So don't forget, social media is a great way to connect. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Hey, everybody out there, if you're in the chat room, let's drop a thumbs up if you are going to do something intentional today or the rest of this week to move you further to work you love. You're going to do something intentional, just one thing. Accountability right here in the chat window. Drop a thumbs up in there. We're going to get to your questions a little bit later, but first we go to Eli, who joins us in Rockford, Minnesota. Eli, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. This is Eli, like you said, and I'm just looking for some tips and tricks how to get started into sports broadcasting.
All right.
That seems like something that's in my sweet spot. I've been listening to you a little over a month, and It just seems like it could be a good fit.
All right, great. Well, you've come to the right place because that's how I got started in broadcasting, was sports broadcasting. How old are you, Eli?
I am 28.
28. You got a full-time job?
Yeah, I do.
Great. How much money are you making?
About 42 a year.
Okay. And you are self-sustaining, just one income?
Yeah, I have a wife at home with a son.
All right, great. So the good news is that you are stable. And so you've got to understand that your day job is so important that you don't lose the perspective here as we begin this journey into sports broadcasting, that day job you have is what is keeping you stable. So here's what you do. You do exactly what I did. All right. So I'm going to give you multiple ideas. You don't have to do all of these, but this is what I did. I realized that my opportunity in sports broadcasting was going to be solely based on the people that I met. That's why I wrote the proximity principle. That's where it came from as I went back into my journey. So I started out by taking a local broadcasting school. This was a TV producer, a guy by the name of Jeff, and he had success in television producing and radio commercials and things of that nature. And so he was creating a broadcasting school where he was going to teach the basics, and it was really affordable. And so I signed up for that. I would look for some type of broadcasting school that has been around a while, Eli, that teaches the fundamentals of broadcasting, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to learn the fundamentals, which is great, but you're also going to get in that community in your local area. And hopefully that broadcasting school has got a lot of great relationships and can put you in some internships or some volunteer opportunities, or maybe even get you a part-time gig once you graduate. So I'd look at the broadcasting school. The other thing I'd look at is what radio stations are doing some type of a high school sports program, something like that, that's all local, because they're never going to be able to pay, or if they are, it's not very much, but they're always looking for live, warm bodies who are willing to do some really good work and will do some reporting on local sports. In fact, I got to brag on Madison, the associate producer. I don't talk about her love of sports much on this program, but she loves sports. In fact, she might love sports more than me as far as consuming and watching, and she doesn't need the side gig, but she has a side gig, and she covers high school sports for a local media outlet. And you don't get paid much, do you? No, not at all. But it's just fun. But here's the deal. Madison, you're really connected in this area. You know a lot of people in the local sports world because you've just gotten there. Now, you're not trying to turn it into something. At least I don't think she is. But the idea, Eli, is you just need to get out there and volunteer your time and just show up. Just say, hey, I'm not needing this for a full-time. I don't even necessarily need part-time pay. I just want to contribute. So whether it's writing a column for a website, or it's going out and doing some on-site reporting for high school football games or basketball games, and you call back in or whatever, that kind of thing. You have got to get in the field of sports broadcasting right there in Rockford, Minnesota. And after you do that, you start looking for regional opportunities. And eventually you'll step into some things where you're getting paid part-time, and you stay with it long enough, then you get paid full-time. But I mean, you are making a list of every sports radio outlet, local TV outlet, who's writing blog posts on sports, like there's a local newspaper or local magazines. You're just making a list of everybody who's doing anything on sports in your area, and you're just showing up going, how can I add value? Don't make it more difficult than that. Do you understand what I'm saying, Eli?
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense.
There you go. So here's the deal. Hang on the line. Madison, if he doesn't have a copy of my best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, let's give that to Eli. The Proximity Principle, if you're new to the show, says, in order to do what I want to do, I've got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. The simple formula: the right people plus the right places equals opportunity. I just have to show up. Oh, one more thing. You got to keep showing up. It's not just a one-time show up. Hey, nobody noticed me. Nobody gave me an opportunity. I feel injustice. No, it's nonsense. You show up, and then you show up, and then you show up, and you keep showing up. And by continually showing up, adding value, even if it's just honoring somebody and saying, I respect you. Can I buy your lunch sometime and learn how you got as good as you are? Who's going to say no to that? Not many people. And I did that over and over and over again. 844-747-2577. We go to Orange County, California, where David is on the line. David, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How's it going?
I am living the dream, David. What's going
on? Great. I just had a question. So I'm struggling to pursue my passion in law enforcement. I've been pursuing this for about maybe 4 years now. And the reason why is because the last time I applied to a volunteer position, I got all the way to the polygraph exam, and they did my hour-and-a-half interview, answered the questions they're going to ask me, and then as soon as I sat down in the chair, the examiner said my heart rate was through the roof, and they couldn't establish a baseline, so they couldn't administer the test for me, and then they invited me to come back the following week, and same thing happened. So they kind of pushed me through. And then another thing that I learned is that I'm partially colorblind, and so some of their standards, you have to have uncorrected color vision for the job. So I don't know if I should keep trying to pursue this field or look into another career. I'm just kind of feeling lost.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Okay, so let's address the two hurdles. The biggest hurdle is that you're freaking out when it comes time to take the polygraph test. You're just freaking out.
Yeah.
You're not hiding anything.
No.
So why are you what is your fear when you sit down in that moment? I'm just curious.
For me, what was going through my head is that I was a police explorer, so I did volunteering for about over a year, and they gave us 2 presentations on the polygraph exam, and what they said was like, oh, if you fail the polygraph exam, no place is ever going to hire you. So that's like kind of going through my head, and the intimidation is making it like, oh, if I screw this up, there goes my, potential for a career. So that was like going through my head.
Yeah, but that's just a bunch of garbage. I mean, it really is. It really is. Like the fact that if you failed a polygraph, well, first of all, you can't even take the polygraph test because you're so wigged out. You're so inside your head. It's not even making any sense. And now I'm going to tell you something that I think there's 2 ways to go here.
Okay.
I love that you laughed the way that you did, because I feel like maybe I broke through to you and you were like, that really is silly that I'm that scared of this thing. You know what I mean? Because I think your mindset going into this thing is, I'm really honest. Have you ever broken the law, David, beyond a speeding ticket?
No.
Okay, then what if your mindset you went into this thing and you're going, man, this is going to be a breeze. I'm like an actual Boy Scout. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing you've ever done to break the law is to get a speeding ticket. You have nothing to hide. Is that true or false, David?
No, that's true.
So you have nothing to hide.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now that's one thing. That's the old, okay, I'm gonna just change my focus going into this next one, going, the last couple times I've done this, I'm in this weird, just crazy place of focusing on, oh my gosh, if I fail this thing, I'm never gonna be employed again.
Yeah.
I mean, do you realize how goofy that sounds?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you went in going, well, the great news is I've made it all the way to this thing twice, and it's only me psyching myself out. So now I'm going to go into this, and my entire thought process is, I'm not going to fail it. I can't fail it. They're not going to ask me anything I'm going to lie about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you lie, David? Do you struggle with lying?
No.
Okay, then.
Actually, my mom said I'm a pretty bad liar, so.
See, this is great. So I got to tell you, I think if you had that kind of focus and you were laughing about this going into the next one, I think you pass it. But let me just say this. Maybe you go have a couple of sessions. Now, this is the professional route, and I really recommend this. Maybe you go have a couple of sessions with a licensed psychologist, a counselor, a therapist, and just discuss this. Like, I am freaking out. Anxiety is hitting me. It's a panic attack is what it is. And that's real. Panic attacks are real. And that professional will give you the tools to be able to face that. So I think that's probably worth, with all the effort you've put in for 4 years, paying for a couple of sessions for someone to help you with a panic attack on this. I think that's really smart. Okay? All right. Now, I think if you do that and get the help and the tools that a professional can give you to face that panic attack and step through it, not even get a panic attack, I think you come through with flying colors. Now, the only thing I don't understand is the colorblind thing. Can that be addressed if you wear glasses?
So it kind of depends on department policies. Some will allow like corrected color vision glasses, and some wouldn't.
Then go there. Then you go after that.
Yeah, I've tried it, but they only slightly like correct the colors that I differentiate.
Okay,
so
here's my question.
Kind of
there is no solution for people who are colorblind like you that would allow you to be fully functional.
No, it's mostly the reason why is identifying like people and vehicles. That's the whole reason for the color.
So here's the deal. If you can't overcome that, then there's nothing we can do about that. Right?
Right.
So maybe it's a different type of law enforcement or public safety. Get outside of being a police officer and go, what are other ways that I can protect and serve the community that don't require me to be a police officer with these specific things that I'm not going to be able to overcome, because it's really your heart that you want to serve. So there are multiple ways besides being a police officer. You could get into security. You could get into so many different things. Maybe you get into being a private investigator. That pays, that can pay pretty well. I mean, I just want your homework assignment is to identify all the different ways that you could serve the public in a way where you are making the world safer and you are protecting people and serving people. Because I think you have put yourself in a corner to where the only thing is maybe being a police officer versus I'd look at federal law enforcement. I'd look at different types of work within law enforcement that don't require you, to have the issue with the colorblind thing solved. Make sense?
Yes.
Because David, listen, there's a lot of things you could do in the public safety, public service space. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
All right, David. So, hey, listen, I want your mindset to be all about that. That's your homework assignment. Identify all the different ways where the colorblind issue is in fact no longer an issue. And then let's go after that, man. No more 4 years of agony. And if you have to do a polygraph test, again, go see that licensed therapist and counselor and get some tools to be able to manage the panic attack. That's doable. I am a firm believer in psychology and the tools that professionals can give. So go do that. You got this. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. We're going to go to the chat room momentarily. We got the questions are coming in here, but I want to tell you about our Live Like No One Else cruise. Dave Ramsey has decided we're all going on a boat. March 22 through 29. It's gorgeous. I've seen it. World-class auditorium in there. And we're all going to be speaking, all the Ramsey personalities, plus some special guests. We're going to be going to the Bahamas, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos. And I'm going to be doing a live version of the Ken Coleman Show. So if you are at a place where you're debt-free and you can pay cash, this is for you. Go to RamseyCruise.com, RamseyCruise.com. Use the code word Coleman when you book it, and you're going to get all kinds of goodies on the boat and all kinds of fun access. So go check that out. It's going to be really fun. Coming around the corner. And I've got to get I got to get my linens, Joe. I got to get my deck shoes. I got to get them all cleaned up. I got to be rolling the outfits. I'm not going to wear any of Joe's Hawaiian shirts that he likes to wear. But I do want to have, not going to wear the Crocs either. Oh boy, I just offended half the audience. 844-747-2577, the number. Let's go to the chat room here. I love when you fire your questions in. Just a reminder that when you shoot questions in here, the more detailed and short to the point question you can give me, the better my answer is going to be, because I can't go back and forth with you and find out the things I can on the phone, okay? So again, I love this format, want to help you, but it's got to be really straight and to the point. Let's go to Rich Edholm. He says, I'm asking for a friend. Anybody else suspicious of that when somebody says that? Real quick, or does that make you suspicious when somebody says asking for a friend? It means you're asking for yourself. Yeah, you're too embarrassed, but Rich, now I've completely exposed that you're probably asking this for yourself. So here we go. My friend is 31 years old, full of optimism and ambition when he sets his mind to things, but seems to fall apart whenever he tries to stay on track. How does he stay checked in? I can't even answer that question. I don't know any details here. This friend of yours is full of optimism. That's great. Full of ambition when he sets his mind to things, but falls apart when he tries to stay on track. So only thing I can infer from this question, Rich, is that your friend is focused at the outset and then loses focus. That's all I can take from this. So how does he stay checked in? He stays focused. So I think the answer to this problem here is removing distractions. A person who's positive and driven and ambitious and is a great starter but can't stay the course is because they're distracted. So in this case, you have to remove all distractions and learn how to say no and have some accountability. That's what I would say. And then you can stay focused. Let's go to Kenneth Roman. He says, I'm going to reach out to a connection today, Ken. Should I ask if he can refer me or pass my resume along, even if this is the first time we are speaking? Well, I would have a connection first. Let's have a great conversation. Show this connection a lot of value. Hey, I'm on the phone with you. I know it's our first time, and I know the most valuable thing you have is your time. So I want to say thanks for sharing your time with me. And I really admire you. I want to be where you are. You've got the wisdom, the knowledge that I need. And so I've got some questions I've pre-prepared. I'd love to get your take on it. Now, that approach right there, the humility and the hunger and honor that you have just shown, is going to make that person feel like $1 million. So they're going to give you the wisdom and knowledge that you're looking for. And then at the end of the conversation, you say, man, I am super, super grateful. Is there anybody else that you would recommend that I get with to further this journey for me? That's how you ask for the connection. Let's go to this one. This is hysterical. Son of Thunder for Truth. This is great. That wins the Nathan. That wins the username of today. No one's going to be better than Son of Thunder for Truth. It's kind of like Thor meets a disciple or something. I don't know. It's all that's popping in my mind. Son of Thunder for Truth. My husband has been. Oh, it's a lady. All right, now I'm really confused. My husband has been in construction for 30 plus years and hates it. How can I help him figure out a new line of work? Well, we get this question a lot, the spousal question. What do we do? My spouse is stuck. How can I help my spouse get unstuck? Well, understand this. We've got to get them unstuck mentally and emotionally before we get them unstuck professionally. And so your role first and foremost is to help them start to think, have the mindset that they need to have. Think the right way. You're thinking for change. Here's how excellent, successful people think. They think, I've got to change my mindset, and after I change the way I think, that will inform the way I act. And then when I receive the positives, the benefits of my new actions, now I feel better, right? I go, oh my gosh, I stopped eating garbage and I started feeding my body properly. But I only did that because I said, you know what? I'm going all about this health thing the wrong way. I'm trying to exercise and yet I'm still exhausted. My body's not acting the right way. I got to go do some homework. How does my body heal itself? Whatever the situation here. This is my example, right? And so we go, oh, I realize now that the body has a lot of healing capabilities, can heal itself if I put the right stuff in it. Now that changes the way I think about eating. Now I change the way I act. And as I get into this and my body feels differently and my ailments go away, I feel like $1 million. I'm proud of myself. I don't just feel better physically, I feel better emotionally. I'm proud of myself. That's what cements change. So what you've got to do with your husband or your spouse, whoever it is, you've got to help them see the future that they've always wondered about and let them see it's possible. But you got to get them off of their current context and focus on a positive future, a desired future. Start talking with them about that. Hey, if there was no risk and money wasn't involved, what would you do tomorrow? Start having fun dream conversations with them and get their mind out of the pit and up to the sky and see a desired future. Now we got them mentally realizing, oh, this is what fires me up. And then we go, okay, what practical steps could we take to get there? And again, this is a mindset thing. So understand that when you, the spouse, come in and supportively paint a better picture and show them how they can get there, say, I am so in, whatever you think is the right thing, I'm in. They feel like, hey, I'm not crazy for thinking about a different future. And that's going to give them confidence to actually pursue it. So that's what you need to do. 844-747-2577. We'll get back to the phones in a moment. But I want to just give you a quick thought. Talked about this at the top of the show. And this is actually a great dovetail to what I just said. To Son of Thunder for Truth. Anytime I can get that name in one more time, it's always better for us, isn't it? Let's be honest. So here's the thought. I said, what is the key to growing yourself? Now, by the way, I'm going to talk about this right now in a professional context, but as I'm revealing this, I want you to sit there and think holistically about your life, professionally, relationally, physically, spiritually. If you aren't where you want to be in any of those areas of your life and you want to grow, you cannot grow until you realize this. You ready? The key to growing yourself is knowing yourself. The key to growing yourself is knowing yourself. In other words, you can't grow yourself until you know yourself. Now, let me explain this. We've got people that they're basically lifelong wanderers. They're just wandering around from one thing to the next, trying to figure out what it is they're supposed to do. And let me tell you what that leads to. Tons of frustration. If you're just wandering around, changing jobs every 3 to 4 years, or you've been in the same career for 20 years because you fell into it out of college, and you haven't enjoyed a Monday morning in so long, you don't even know what it's like to experience a little bit of juice in the workplace. It's because you've been wandering or you just fell into something. There's nothing intentional about falling into something. If I'm walking along a path and I fall into a hole, there's nothing intentional about that. I didn't see the hole. I just fell into it. So if you want to grow yourself, you've got to be self-aware. You can't believe how many people in this life are truly not self-aware. And the sad thing is, the people that are the most self-aware actually think they're aware. So let me give you a quick contrast here. How do you really get to know yourself? Let's start with just personality traits and types. There's all kinds of things out there on this stuff. But what are your personality positives? What are your negatives? So your natural personality wiring, what is a strength and what's a negative? You got to be aware. This is the strongest part of my personality. This is the weakest. Number 2, what do you do best? What are the talents, skills, abilities, and qualities that you do better than anything else? What are you absolutely awful at? Number 3, what do you love to do most? What work, what task, what role, what function? It makes your heart beat fast. What do you love to do? All right, now let's look at the contrast. What sucks the life right out of you? You hate it. You hate doing this. What results matter to you? The results of your work. You say, That's a good day. That's a contribution that I'm proud of. What doesn't matter to you? Now, by the way, folks, I've run through this pretty quickly, but this is something you get out. I use a pencil, by the way. I love that this is YouTube because you can see I'm not making this up. I use a pencil exclusively. I don't use pens anymore because I love what a pencil does. A pencil gives me freedom to just, whoops, I got so excited I just dropped it on the desk. Just like that. I'm so excited. A pencil lets me just flow on the paper. It just lets my brain dump out onto paper. And we know from psychology studies that there's great power in getting thoughts out of your head. And you can just see this right here. Nathan, let's do this. I don't know if people are going to be able to see this. It's so bright. Look at this. I don't know, but this is what I use right here. Just right here. Let's see. Let me tilt that. There we go. There are my notes on what I'm teaching you. All right. Here's the deal. You got to write this stuff out. Personality positives, negatives, write it out and fill out the entire list of questions I just gave you. And when you get them all written out, you go, wow, how much of my work life is on the negative side of things? Well, this brings out the most negative part of my personality, this work. This work, I'm actually responsible to do work at that I'm terrible at. Oh my gosh, no wonder I'm frustrated. No wonder I'm stressed out. I'm worried that somebody's going to discover that I'm a complete fraud. Oh my gosh. Half of what I do every day, I actually hate to do. It sucks my soul out. And then the final, the results of my work just don't matter to me. If you're running through this little examination, folks, you will not grow professionally until you take an assessment, an inventory of, I got to grow myself, and I can't grow in an area where I'm weak. I just can't. The best I can do is maybe get better by 2 levels. So if I'm a 4 in something, maybe I'm a 6. Nobody cares about 6s. People pay for 9s and 10s. This is the example here. So if you want to grow, then you better know who you really are so that you can know where you need to be growing. But you'll never find that sweet spot. You'll never step into a role that's in the middle of your sweet spot if you don't know yourself. That's why I'm here. And that's why we bring you the resources and the tools we do. You cannot grow yourself until you know yourself. What am I preaching here? The power of self-awareness. It's everything. It's everything. When you're self-aware, you truly know, okay, this is who I really am, and this is who I want to be. And it is self-awareness that gives us the chance to be the best version of ourselves. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Montpelier, Vermont. Lauren joins us. Lauren, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
So I just wanted to get your feedback on whether it's ever appropriate to go back to a job that you left.
Okay.
I'm struggling with making that decision.
Okay. What are you looking to go back to? What is it?
So I am a licensed mental health therapist. I also work with substance use, and I took a job I was recruited for a job, I should say, for a clinical director position with quite a bit more money. Mm-hmm. But it's not really turned out to be what I was expecting or what I hoped, and I'm feeling pretty miserable, and it's taken up a lot of my emotional energy, and it just doesn't feel like a very safe environment.
Okay, hold on.
And
so let me ask you this. Is it mostly because of what you just said there at the end? It's not a safe environment? Is it mostly because as a clinical director, you're more in a leadership administrative role and not knee to knee with patients? I'm just curious. I want to know why it's not what you thought it would be.
Probably a combination of both, but I think the emotional safety is probably the most important. But definitely my passion lies with working more intimately in a one-on-one capacity with clients versus administrative or group therapy,
great.
Which is what I'm
Excellent. So here's the deal. If you go back to what you were doing, are you going to be more fulfilled? It's that simple.
Yeah, so I don't know. I hope that the experience will have given me the opportunity to be content where I am and kind of wait for the right opportunity to arise. I wasn't unhappy with my job there. It was a significant pay increase, and I thought it's given me the opportunity to learn a bit more.
All right.
And there are some limitations with the other job.
All right, so let's talk about your current job. What if you did the same thing, you were doing the same thing all day, every day, but you were in a healthy environment? would you be willing to could you stick it out a lot longer to find the next thing?
I don't think I would, because I think it's in an industry that's not my passion.
Okay.
It's still in the realm of substance use, but a different type of treatment than what I'm
right. So how much money would you make if you went back?
It probably would give me a little bit more, but it would be close to probably $15,000 to $18,000 loss.
Yeah, but what's your heart telling you? What would you do tomorrow?
My heart tells me that that the money's not really the issue. I mean, we're debt free. We have, we're not worried about that.
All right, Lauren, this is crazy. Yeah. This is crazy. You're a professional. You're an actual real therapist. I'm an amateur. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do what you would do with a patient, sort of, kind of. I'm putting you in the spot right now.
Perfect.
What would you do tomorrow if you absolutely knew there was no failure, no possible risk, and you're going to make plenty of money? It's enough. We don't need the money. It's just you are going to pour Lauren out for the benefit of other people. Who would you be doing that with? Where would you be doing it? Say it.
Underprivileged individuals that don't get the proper attention or great services.
Yeah. So that's different than what you were doing.
Well, no, I mean, I worked in corrections. I worked at a jail.
Oh, you were in corrections. I'm sorry. I thought you were doing one, but you were a therapist, correct?
Yeah, in corrections. Yeah, I provide therapy to individuals struggling with substance use and those sorts of things. Yeah,
okay, great.
I like working with women, and I like working with people that don't get the attention they deserve.
Okay, so here's the deal. So the answer to your question is what? You asked me, Ken, should I go back? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an emphatic yes. And then here's what I would challenge you this time with. When you go back into it this time, don't think, well, I've taken a big pay cut to do something that I love. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. As you know, you said it earlier. But I would challenge you. Instead of, well, I'm going to go do something I really love, and it is a big pay cut, but that's okay because I really love the people I'm serving. What if, you know what? I got tempted to go take a gig with way more money, and all it did was clarify the people that I really, really want to serve. And now I'm going back to serve them, but I'm going to serve them better than before, and I'm going to figure out how I continue to grow in this area of service. Now, growth doesn't necessarily mean financial growth, but how can you take yourself 2, 3, 4 levels higher as a professional, meaning you're better than you were before. You're more influential than you were before. I think those become your challenges. And I think that's what your mindset is on. Yeah, she said absolutely. Yeah. She gets it. Because, Lauren, you know what I think? I think if your mindset is, I now know, having got distracted by a temptation of more money, I know exactly who I want to help. I know exactly why I want to help them. And I might be the difference between them continuing to live and maybe changing someone else's life. Does that ring true to you?
100%, yeah.
Then, Lauren, you know what time it is, don't you? You know, it's time to go. It's time to go. No more thinking. No more talking about it. Congratulations on being debt-free, which, by the way, there's a reason why Dave Ramsey's baby steps work. Because people begin to see that the future they really want, not just a financial future, but a work future, is available to them when they are debt-free and live like no one else, so that they can live and give of themselves through their work. I'm telling you, folks, Lauren's got options right now. She can take the pay cut because she and her husband are debt-free. And she can actually show up on Monday morning and feel a tremendous amount of joy because she's doing what she was created to do, and she can do that because she's not shackled to a job she hates that has a paycheck that she needs. Well, folks, it's been so much fun, but our time is almost up. I want you to know before I go that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on!